Hello and welcome to Anchor TV Interview, the first interview of the spring semester. My name is Tim Yeen, Sports Manager for Anchor TV, and today, for our first episode of the semester, I'm interviewing one of our team members for Anchor TV. He's the Vice President of our club, and outside of Anchor TV is the graphic comic artist for our student-run newspaper, The Anchor, in which I also work a little bit in. He's part of the class of 2026, graduating this year, and is pursuing a Bachelor of Arts in Music with a minor in Film Studies. Everyone, please welcome Alex Celico.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm so excited to talk about
That's
this.
awesome. This is your first interview. You told me beforehand.
My first on TV interview. This is cool.
Yeah, you got any sort of pre-game feelings or whatever or whatnot?
I think I'm just excited to talk about things that I've done in the past 4 years and talk about ways that I made it happen.
That's awesome. I've done a little bit of research on you before the interview, and just so much info to go off of, so much that you've already done in such a short time span here at the college. So, for Anchor TV as our vice president, tell the viewers a little bit about what you do here at Anchor TV and the growth you've seen for this club from when you first started.
Sure. So I'm the vice president, as you said. So I'm in charge of recruitment and retainment of our members, as well as working on the closed circuit TV that presents our content in the Donovan Dining Center. So plug for Anchor TV if you want to join. Your content will be on the Donovan Dining Center TV. So it's been an awesome journey. For the past 2 years of being on the e-board, seeing the growth of Anchor TV, we went from an organization that had no events and did no events ever to now doing multiple a semester, having multiple independent productions running, like the Anchor TV interviews. But the newscast is back up and running, and that's fantastic to bring news weekly to the Rhode Island College campus through Anchor TV. We have the Two Man, which is our first feature film, which we also started at that as our first short film, which is pretty awesome. And we have the Josh Greenberg Show, which is live in Gauge 100 every month. And what else do we have? The Family Feud, which is our game show series. Also, it's been awesome to collaborate with some other schools as well for the Anchor TV and Film Society's annual Student Film Festival, which I do have to take a little credit for. It was a really awesome experience to build that up from the ground. And now we are collaborating with all schools in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. So it's really awesome to see how when I came into Anchor TV, it was just a small organization. There were not a lot of members. They didn't do that much. And things were down, things were broken, things weren't running, to now being a fully self-involved organization.
Yeah, and I was here to see the growth alongside you with with you part of the e-board. Like you said, got the newscast going. And now this fall semester, heading into the spring semester, we got Josh Greenberg Show, like you said. Again, more newscasts, which should be bigger and better than ever.
Exactly.
And with that comes a lot more people to help work on these projects. The movies, again, the newscasts, the Greenberg Show, all that. So it's been awesome to see. And of course, if you guys want to watch it, Don TV, it's at the little corner ones. So hopefully we'll get that up and running. Sometimes we see some things, but this morning, I don't know why. I think it's more of the Donovan people than
every time there's something more important, they put it on our TV.
I wouldn't call respectfully. I wouldn't call the other stuff I see.
I know more important.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It should be up and running though.
Yeah.
So I'll email.
All right.
Email
Gotcha. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's
first thing
okay.
in the afternoon. Now for the other media org, Anchor Newspaper.
Yeah.
Tell us what got you interested in drawing comics and how you plan those drawings and comics out. If you guys do read the newspaper, you'll see it in the backhand, or back of the newspaper, your comics. So just explain that process a little bit and your interest.
Sure. So I started writing and drawing the comics sophomore year of college. I started writing them with Tess Sullivan, and we just did some random little strips. I've always loved old comic strips like Garfield and the Peanuts. So that's kind of what drove me into creating these comics. And I've always loved to draw. But then I started getting some ideas on how to like elongate the strip and make it more like a situational, like whole world like sort of thing. So I took Elvie, the police dog, and Gerald, the campus turkey, and do a little like one-off adventures with them, like each print edition of the newspaper. So it's usually per like holiday-ish. But usually it's Gerald, who's kind of dumb and like naive. He's learned something new about like the holidays at Rick or like the season or whatever, usually at like Elvie's expense.
Has LB seen the?
Yes.
Oh my God.
They posted, I think it was the Thanksgiving and Christmas one. They posted it on their Instagram, on like Elvie's Instagram.
Oh,
I'm not sure about Gerald yet though.
Yeah. Gerald's a little bit of a, a wandering figure.
Exactly.
So, but I don't know if he has time to read the newspaper.
Yeah, probably not. He should get on it though.
You should. Newspaper, TV, just saying.
We got to get the turkeys in here.
Tell us initially now what got you into the world of filmmaking as well as your interest in creating music, which you create all the, the music for your movies as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've always loved filmmaking. I would like force my parents to follow me around with a camcorder while I like made little like movies, or I was like singing something like with like a fake guitar, like just anything that I could get on camera or get behind a camera and like film something. I would make like little stop motion things with like clay, and then I would like put on like random puppets and just like make like recreations of the Muppet Show or something. And then I would always put on like these big premieres for my like parents and family in like my living room, and edit it on my dad's computer. But then that kind of like trickled away, and then I started getting more into music, and that's what I came originally to school for music education. And then once I started getting into the politics of a school, I realized maybe that's not for me. So I brought back filmmaking into my life, and now I'm a film studies minor. And so it kind of goes hand in hand, having like a music degree as well as a filmmaking degree, because a lot of my films are very music based, or like music is a central theme in them. So having a music degree as well as like a visual and a physical art, putting those together, it's kind of really fun. So yeah, I guess there's no like process of making it. I usually, when I come up with an idea, I have like a notes app on my phone of just like random ideas that come to my brain at random times. And usually while I'm editing it, I have some idea of like musical like notation or like some orchestration that I kind of want to do, or the vibe of it. Like if I don't want like a symphony orchestra playing this, like maybe like a jazz here, or like something. So I usually have those ideas while I'm editing. And then music composition, like for the films, always comes the last step. I always use that as like the final gloss over to write the music for it. Because sometimes when I'm writing the music, I have other ideas for while I'm editing to like swap this, or like, oh, this would sound better, or this would look better with the music going involved. So it's really cool to have both of those like sides. I was a part of the film club in high school, and it was just like a bunch of my friends were in it. So like I didn't really do it just for the filmmaking, but like I did it because of my friends were in it. But then that really like pushed me forward to realize, ooh, I really like this. Like this is a fun like storytelling technique.
Music-wise, this is kind of going a little bit off the script a little bit.
Yeah,
Do you have any sort of inspirations for when you're creating the music, or any sort of like basis?
Yeah, I really love John Williams, like, and his like scores for Home Alone and like Star Wars, Jaws, the Harry Potter movies. He is a very big influence on me. I loved like the way he uses French horns as like percussion rather than like actual percussion. It's all like music nerd stuff. But I love his scores, and I love like when movies have really big like orchestral scores, because it's like those are real instruments playing that, and like that's like it's just a beautiful like collaboration. So I think when I'm writing scores, I tend to side more towards the orchestral like full quality of it, very like vintage Hollywood. or sometimes no music at all. So I think it honestly depends on the film, like what type of music that film desires when I'm editing it for inspiration.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just moving on, when we already got a little bit into this when it comes to your creative process for creating, getting movie ideas and then getting the actors and creating that vibe. And again, you already explained the music stuff. That's usually around the end piece of
Right.
it. So I guess mainly here, what's the thing about getting the vibe right? The actors and just controlling everything from start to finish.
Yeah, sure. So a lot of times, like I said, I have like the notes app with ideas. So I have a hard time sitting on an idea and not like going straight into it. So a lot of times it's, oh, I come up with this idea. Let's write the script and let's make this happen. It's really, really awesome, and I'm so thankful and grateful that I have my own equipment, so I can make like all of these films, even if it's not for like a assignment in film class. So it usually starts with the idea, and then I write the script like that same day. And then usually I have a cast idea. My like production studio, I guess, Celico Film Productions. I have like the same cast and crew for like all of them. Shane Marshall, shout out, he's like always in my films. And then like Gavin LePan Carpenter, Darius Caceres, like we all like kind of collaborate together to make something happen, and it's usually the same crew, and that's what's awesome about it. So like as far as cast and crew goes, it's usually like, oh, I pretty much have an idea of who I want. But then pre-production starts, and I make like shot lists and like beat sheets of everything, draw some things out if I need to, and then production happens and we shoot, and it's usually like I've only so far only made short films, so they're usually like 1 to 2 day shoots. But now I'm going into the feature film like territory, so now we have like 8 days of shooting, which isn't terrible. For a feature film, that's not bad, but they are like 12-hour days. But I guess for like process-wise, getting the vibe of the film, usually I have like an idea of what I want the vibe to be before I go into it. And sometimes that comes with the idea first. Like in my notes app, the idea might be like this vibe rather than like this plot story. Like I'm thinking vibe-wise. One of my films, Some Enchanted Evening, it was for an assignment, and it had to be in black and white. So I was like, you know what, I'll make like an old Hollywood, like film noir type, like black and white with like old orchestral music, some like film grain and like 4:3 aspect ratio. So a lot of the times the vibe comes from either the assignment or like even before the idea comes.
For that cast, did you guys meet through college, or was it more like guys met through high school, or was there something a little bit more wide open, like someone came in from a different college, maybe URI, or someplace in Mass or Connecticut, or was it just mainly around like this sort of campus?
Mainly around this campus. I would say I met Shane through Rick when he joined the radio station, and then Gavin I met because I made my first film, Sleepwalker, in college, and Gavin reached out to me on Instagram and was like, hey, if you're looking for a director of photography, like here I am, I would love to help out. And now we work on, like, he's been the director of photography on my films, like almost all of them, and we worked so well together. And then Darius I met this past semester in my film genres class, but he just transferred from CCRI, so I guess that's like the outside. But no, usually it's through Rick. But also for my upcoming feature, I'm working with one of my best friends from high school, together on, like, she's going to be assistant cameraman. And she was the reason that I like joined the film club in high school, so it's kind of cool to like work together. She just graduated from URI as a film major.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you just add on just a little bit more. Does having the same sort of like set cast and crew just help with the bonding and connection between everyone to make for a more fun and connective work environment, you could say?
Yeah, I think like having that like family of like someone, like people that like work together all the time, it just makes it so much easier, so much more relaxed. It's not like high stress all the time because it's like we're hanging out with like our friends, just making like art. So yeah, I really like it. Maybe I should branch out a little bit because like Shane can't play everybody in the films. However, I love having like my friends on a set because it just makes it feel like a family working together towards this one goal, rather than like so many outside people that I don't necessarily know being like just creating a lot of like not chaos, but like a lot of noise. So when we all know each other and we all like are down to earth and like know exactly what we want to create, it just makes it so much happier.
Yeah, for sure. And with a lot of, those happy moments, what's been the most fun to direct and create out of all your films?
Oh, that's a really hard question. I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite. I have a most eventful like shoot, which Anchor News has written an article about this. But Don't Fence Me In, which was like the Western with Reagan Gould, treasurer of Anchor TV, and Gavin LePan Carpenter. I wrote this script before for an assignment, but then I used it as an assignment. And it challenged like the, I guess, toxic masculinity in the Wild West, and like our view on masculinity in old times and like our like traditional views and challenging those, using cowboys. They are running away from the law. They just like their plan is to go to jail the next day or be hung, but they're trying to run away so they're not fenced in for the rest of their lives. But then we find out that one of the cowboys, who is really tough and rough and is like, nothing affects me, I'm fine, has a family that I ran away from. So like the other cowboy finds like notes in his bag and drawings of like that his like daughter made him. So it just adds like an emotional like, oh, people are dealing with stuff that maybe they're not going to show because they've been taught to not show it. And we were shooting in Lincoln Woods, and it was around like 4 o'clock. And so we got there, about an hour into the shoot, we hear like, put your hands up where we can see them. And then like 8 state troopers and a SWAT team come running down with giant rifles and like the face shields and like the plastic shields, and a helicopter's flying overhead. And we had like prop guns, like fake like little shotguns, and for like each cowboy, and a fake flame fire. So it was like a LED like GVM light on fire mode underneath a bunch of sticks. And someone called open fire, open shooter on us, which is crazy because we weren't even shooting the guns, and they could not shoot anyway. They were basically made of plastic and foam. And yeah, I guess the fire looked so real that someone thought it was an open fire, which, hey, that's awesome for continuity-wise, but not great for us. So our whole, we lost a half hour of shooting time because we had to be searched down and asked questions and interviewed, and our names written down on the police log and stuff. Nothing ever came from it, which is good. But then they were like, how long do you think you're going to be here to shoot? We're so sorry that we interrupted this. And I was like, it's okay. And I was like, probably till 9 o'clock. They're like, that's totally fine. We won't bother you. We'll put in a note that you're here, blah, blah, blah. Well, then an hour later, apparently the park closes at sundown. And we got permission from them to be there later. The park rangers came and was like, hey guys, please put out that fire. Please put out that fire. I was like, bro, they don't talk to each other. This is not a real fire. And so then they were like, you guys should probably leave. We're closing up. We don't want your cars to get locked in. So we're like, okay, we'll leave. So then we went to another park and we're like, this is probably not safe after sundown. So then I called campus police, and they let us shoot behind the campus police station in the little woods area. Mm-hmm. So in that film, there's a weird cut to another location. That's because we changed locations. But continuity-wise, I think it worked out pretty well.
Oh my God, what was that initial reaction when you first heard the...
At first, I was like, oh my gosh, there's an open shooter here. who the heck is this? We need to get out of here. Didn't realize that I was the open shooter.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it me?
yeah, because like I was looking through the monitor of the camera, like locked in. And I didn't even realize that things were coming down, and they were like, cancel the helicopters. It was just insane. I was shocked. Like my heart was racing that whole night.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, we need to get this done. We need to get this done.
I mean, I hope you got the chance to promote your movie to all the state troopers and
Oh, I know.
whatnot.
I was like,
yeah.
hey, I'm a student at Rhode Island College. I'm a filmmaker. Yeah, so I got to talk to them a little bit.
Hell yeah! Like, hey, we're shooting a movie, but if you wanna come see it and prove it, we're doing a movie.
Exactly. IMDb credit. You can be in it.
Referring back to your initial interest in cinema,
Mhm.
you talked about how Jim Henson played a really big part in that. What was it about Henson that inspired you to take on a journey in movie making and also some puppeteering?
Yeah, sure. So I have always loved the Muppets. If anybody knows anything about me, it's that I love the Muppets. And that like started at like a young age. I was like grew up on Sesame Street and the Muppet Show and Fraggle Rock and all of like Jim Henson's like things that were meant for younger audiences. And then growing up, I just like began to love the art of the making of it rather than like the characters and the storytelling, because it's just like so complex that something that's like seems so simple is so complex and hard. Whereas like just the production value of things that I really learned to love. And I think that's why I really wanted to get into storytelling and filmmaking, because I'm in awe of all of the work it takes to like behind the scenes to put on something that seems so simple. Because when you're watching a movie, if you don't have that like visual eye per se, you're just thinking like, oh, this is a story. Like you think of it for the narrative quality, where I love the production quality of it. And like Jim Henson's work, it like just like transcends that like production quality. And I love his message of like being kind to everyone and leaving the world a bit better than like having gotten here, and like a little bit more colorful and bright. And unfortunately he died at a very young age, but his like work still lives on, which is awesome. I actually next month I am getting to tour the Jim Henson Company in New York, and like do this whole like walkthrough, which I'm really excited about, and get some like demonstrations on how it works. Because main goal, I want to work there someday, whether that's like producer, executive producer, or honestly anything. I'm down with anything. As if I get into that company, it would be awesome. But yeah, I just really resonate with the creativity of Jim Henson's work, because it like transcends the age gap. Whereas like little kids can watch Sesame Street and learn from it and like understand their alphabets and their letters and all that stuff. And then an adult could watch something like Labyrinth or the Dark Crystal, which are like really creepy and like really weird with like weird animatronics and like rubber puppets and stuff, and still like appreciate like that was the same person that made something so simple for kids to something so insanely complex.
Is there a certain film or special from Jim Henson that really sticks by you, as a child and even to this day?
Yeah, my favorite like movie of all time is The Great Muppet Caper, from the 80s. It's just like a comfort movie for me. But my favorite like special, I'd say, A Muppet Family Christmas, which only premiered like ever, and it was never like released anywhere. So you can find it on YouTube. But it's like the characters from the Muppet Show, Sesame Street, and Fraggle Rock all come together at Christmas in like Fozzie Bear's mom's house, and they just like sing the entirety of the hour, and it's just like so wholesome and like so pure. That's like, I wish the world was still like that, where we could all just come together and sing all the time.
Hey, there's still some hope. We just gotta work together on that.
I know, fingers crossed. Everyone needs to come together at Christmas and sing.
You're a music director at Road to Broadway.
Yes.
A youth theater company based in Wakefield, Rhode Island. Can you detail a little bit more into what that role entails and what it's like working for Road to Broadway?
Yeah, sure. So Road to Broadway, as you said, is the youth theater company, or youth music theater and dance company in Wakefield, Rhode Island. It's a relatively new company, a younger company, but it's fantastic. It gives opportunities for music theater and dance to students kind of all ages, centered around southern Rhode Island. I started working there 2 years ago as a music director, and I just recently music directed Beetlejuice, the musical, which was really, really fun. But it was a Broadway level show. The lighting, the set design. We had a children's book author come in and build our set, and it was gorgeous. It was like straight out of Broadway. Costumes we rented from Emerald City Theatrics, and it was beautiful. The Road to Broadway really, really knows how to tailor theater education for younger audiences in that area. Through Road to Broadway, I've music directed The Little Mermaid, Beetlejuice, and then the Beach Bash, which is a yearly event that they hold in Wakefield, like North Kingstown area. But this year was at the Kinney Bungalow with the Wicked star Ethan Slater. So I got to work directly with him to create a show for these students to perform in. So I worked with some individual students on some solo pieces and some group numbers, and then the piece that they sang with Ethan Slater. And it's such an awesome opportunity because I get to meet people, build connections through the company, as well as just put my fingerprints everywhere, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, and alongside Road to Broadway, you're also a private voice and piano teacher. How's that like, and what is the process of sort of finding people to teach and developing their skills and watching them grow?
Yeah, sure. That's also through Road to Broadway too, which is awesome. Which I really love how tailored that company is also, because there's things for students who love theater, things for students who love dance, who really love private music coaching, and also film. I ran a they called Movie Magic Camp, where the students wrote, directed, and starred in their own film. But for private teaching, I teach every Sunday in Wakefield at the studio, and I teach ranging of all ages. I've had students as young as 6 years old to students as old as 65.
Wow.
And it's great seeing how the students could really thrive in their music education. And I love tailoring the lessons to the student. For voice, I really love learning the student's voice and picking the right songs, because I think that students who maybe are starting out with their vocal training are really intimidated by all these techniques and all these new things that they need to do. So finding a song that fits their voice perfectly, that they would love to sing, will help apply all those techniques to that song. And for piano-wise, I teach through the John Thompson piano course method, which I really like because it's just a perfect playing level for both, for any age group. So for my younger students, we can really pick apart each lesson in that course to tailor their needs and tailor their experience and skill level at that point. But as for older students, we could do the entire lesson, and it's still something that they're learning, and still something that they're putting all their effort towards. And it's such an awesome experience to see the students' growth throughout the semester.
Yeah. And what is that feeling like, starting from the beginning where, you're just being introduced to them to, around the end portion where these guys have really mastered, what you've taught them. What's that feeling like, just seeing that growth and progress?
It's wonderful. Recently I had a student that were singing Man-Child by Sabrina Carpenter. And at first she was a little timid with the song, and then the next lesson she came in, and it was powerhouse vocals, and it was such an awesome feeling, because I was yes, you put in the work, and you took everything that we talked about last lesson and applied it to this song that she loves so much. She loves singing it too. and it's a really rewarding experience because it feels like you have an effect on someone, and that's something that they'll continue building upon throughout their musical career. Um, I, as a music major, also I realized like your music education never ends. It can never end. It can only build. So yes, we have like semesters in like the program through Road to Broadway, but I think of each like semester as like a new unit in your vocal or musical education. So each unit consists of like a beginning and an end, but we still build on that end the next semester, and that continue upon each lesson as we go on.
That's honestly a great way to think about it, dude. That's a lot of things, by
Yes.
the way. Anchor TV, you know, the newspaper, your filmmaking, and then, you know, teaching everybody from in Road to Broadway, and also with the, you know, the piano company. How do you manage it?
It's hard. It's hard. But it's also something that I'm still learning and still working towards. Time management has been a struggle for me all my life, I'll admit it. However, I think as I'm getting older and getting more into my to the end of my college career, I'm realizing priorities, you need to like schedule them and like really set them aside. So I just make like school my top priority. All my schoolwork comes first. My like education comes first, and then I tier things off like as needed. Obviously, there's going to be times where my time management skills aren't the best because there's a lot on my plate, and like that's understandable.
Yep.
But I try I try as hard as possible.
So is it more like, you know, for you is like wake up 7 a.m. do this, 8 o'clock, you know, get there, or is it more like, you know, at this time, you know, it's more like a more fluid thing?
I think it's more of a fluid thing.
Okay.
I think it also like depends day by day sort of thing.
Yeah. What time does your day usually start?
I am not a morning person.
Oh,
And unfortunately, that's not a good thing.
yeah.
But on school days, like 8 o'clock. Weekends are a little debatable. Depends on like when.
Are you a big coffee guy? Do you drink any coffee?
No,
at all?
I used to drink coffee, but then I stopped.
Oh.
I haven't had coffee in like 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big coffee guy.
Well, sort of like the opposite of me. Like I've just started like hammering down coffee.
Wow.
Beginning my fall semester. But
Coffee is good.
Yeah.
It's good. I get it.
yeah. So most important thing, last thing, you know, on the checklist, is your upcoming movie, Awake.
Yes.
Give us a quick little look about what the movie is, and talking about funding-wise. You know, I saw on your Instagram. If you want to tag that in, I'll probably put that in somewhere.
Sure.
Like the beginning part of the interview and post-production. Yeah, just tell us where we can help out in terms of funding.
Sure. So Awake is my myself and my like production company with all my friends in there. Our first dive into a feature film, and this is I'm counting this as my like senior capstone. This is like the last thing I'll do at Rick, and my like going out with a bang, while I have all of the resources. So it's a continuation of my first film, Sleepwalker, and the latest film that I made, Look and Find. Whereas in Sleepwalker, Detective Parker Sullivan is investigating these murders that happen outside of his apartment at the same time every night. Come to find out, he's investigating himself because he's sleepwalking, killing these people at night. And so he's like under investigation from like IAB, the Internal Affairs Bureau. In Look and Find, Parker Sullivan comes back, we learn, after a year of incarceration for involuntary manslaughter, comes back in a secretary position for the NYPD. He like works out a plea deal, all this jazz, which is that is explained in Awake. But he is a ride-along on a drug deal, like a undercover drug deal, where they go and bust it. Gavin, who plays an undercover officer, Jacob, he's undercover at this drug deal, and Dustin Aliberti, who is played by Darius, comes in and tries selling like drugs to the undercover officer, but then Parker Sullivan and his like sergeant Rowan come in and bust it. However, the drug dealer shoots both the undercover cop and the sergeant, leaving Parker by himself. And in his plea deal, he said he would never touch a weapon again. He's like unable to carry, unable to be, he like is badgeless. But in self-defense, he picks up the gun, and it's on film. So he's now back under investigation, and he gets booted from the NYPD. However, this drug dealer, Dustin, is still on the loose because he shot everybody and dipped. Come to find out, this drug dealer is a part of the Italian mob in Westerly, Rhode Island. So Parker Sullivan goes back to the NYPD office to grab his laptop, but he steals the case files. So secretly behind the NYPD's back, he drives to Westerly, Rhode Island and Providence, Rhode Island, and investigates the murder of his best friend and the undercover officer. So it's like a organized crime, like Law and Order, organized crime, SVU meets The Sopranos, or like Goodfellas. So it's a cool combination of like two different genres.
Oh my God! How many people are going to be in this movie? I looked at the
there's a
page,
lot.
A lot of people. There'll be like 6 parts already. You're waiting on one more part, and it seems like it's going to be a hell of a movie.
Yeah, it's a big production. I have a really awesome cast and crew. I couldn't be more happy, and I'm so thankful for like the time and effort that they're putting in towards this and like building this dream together and making this art. But yeah, there's a lot of cast and crew. We have a mix of Rick students, URI students. My family and my brother are going to be in it. We have some professional actors from New York and LA that I met through Road to Broadway. So they're going to come down from New York and be in the film. And then I have a few actors that I outsourced as well that I met through like networking connections. Cast, a lot of it is, crew. A lot of it is Rick students, like Rick film students, but also I have some of my friends from like outside that want to be like PAs. I have my friend, like I said, Maddie, she just graduated from URI. She's going to be the assistant camera. So it's like a smorgasbord of people that I've worked with. And what I love about this is like I wanted to make it almost like a love letter to a bunch of people that I like collaborated with throughout the 4 years of school.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there a sort of fundraising goal you guys need to achieve?
Yes. So I totally forgot about that.
You're good. I mean, I got hooked onto the entire idea of the movie. So I don't blame you for kind of forgetting about that.
No, exactly. We are funding through GoFundMe. Originally we had a Kickstarter open, but then it just didn't work out like logistics-wise. So we transitioned to GoFundMe, but I'm working on creating an Indiegogo as well. It's under review. But so far I'm very, very thankful and grateful for everyone who's donated. If you donate, you will be listed as an executive producer credit in the credits, as well as get IMDb credits. So if you look your name up on Google, it'll come up with a little headshot that you like are the executive producer of this film. So it's like a cool resume builder too. But all donations go directly towards the funding of this film, whether that be catering, production, props, costumes, wardrobe, equipment rental, location like managing. So all proceeds go directly towards the funding of the film. And also, this hat that I'm wearing here, this is not a coincidence, just having a bad hair day. But you can buy this hat on the link to my website. It's in my Instagram and the link tree in my bio. And all proceeds from the hat go directly towards the film as well. So you can buy these on my website for $21. And then it's also free advertising for me, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Wear the hat.
That is awesome. I want to take the time to say thank you once again so much for being on this TV studio today. First episode of the semester, couldn't have had a better person to interview. So I really
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
All right, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right, once again, everyone, Tim Mean here for Anchor TV, here with Alex Celico. A great first episode here in the TV studio. We thank you so much for watching. Again, Celico, the Vice President for Anchor TV, graphic comic artist for the Anchor, music director, wrote to Broadway, also a private voice and piano teacher, everything across the board. Too much for me to try to remember. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you for the next episode. Take care.